Hey everyone, it's Friday. That means it's time to deploy. Back as always after a week-long break. Jim, how are you?
Yeah, doing good, doing good. Trying to keep
How
the
are
energy
things?
levels up, unlike Bron back there.
That's right. That's what I look like these days. I'm jet lagged. I just got back from Spain, so I am.
Yeah,
That
right.
dog is my spirit animal. What's the
Yeah,
dog's name
Spain.
for folks who don't know?
That's Bron. Bron, the Neapolitan Mastiff.
Nice, awesome. He's doing everything that I want to right now. Anyways, for those of you who are just joining us, this is the show that features everything tech related, news related for the past week as it relates to Octopus Deploy. And let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go through some of the quick news articles here. So this is a post from Harsh, who's our vice president of revenue at Octopus Deploy. I just got back from Spain, and this is what we were up to. So these are some photos of our trip over there. This was a company photo that we tried to do. The thing that you don't realize is that there's a lot more people in this photo that couldn't get in there. So funny story about this. So I am right there at that mouse pointer. I was you can see my mouse pointer right there. So that was me. You can see Paul is right there as our CEO. A few other folks. There's Colin, who's our SVP of product. There's Joanna, VP of marketing. Various other folks as well. We were there to basically round out the year that was and to talk about future plans, which was great. We were in the lovely city of Barcelona. We had a bunch of exercises we did to try and do some bonding. So we sat through all kinds of meetings, but then we did some things that like putting together bikes from scratch, which was fun. We have a really fun video. There's Paul trying to ride the bike that was put together, which was awesome. So we had a lot of fun. Ate a lot of paella when I was there, of course. When you're in Barcelona, when in Rome, so to speak. When in Barcelona, eat paella. So that was a lot of fun. So I was really happy to be there. We handed out some awards as well. So here's Claire Martin, who's part of our support team, who won an award. Various other folks won awards as well, but I just want to highlight one example here. So great stuff all around. Had a great time, and it's great to be back. And that's part of the reason why I'm so jet lagged. I am still recovering. My sleep schedule is all messed up. So, but that's the reality of living in the world's basement. Just happens to be that way. So, anyways, moving right along. So enough about that. So this is an article that was posted by Robert entitled "Using Git Resources Directly in Deployment." So as folks will know, when you do a deployment and you want to reference something like, say, a script or let's say you want to reference something else, you have to typically upload a package. And I say typically because there are some edge cases where you can get around that, but you have to typically use a package. And so we'll reference things in packages all the time. What we're moving to now is the ability to directly source items from Git. So what this post is basically a highlight post of what we've added recently to Octopus, which is the ability to directly source things from Git. So Robert talks a little bit about how scripts are available. Some examples are like manifest files for Kubernetes, Terraform templates. So it's really kind of frustrating. Like unless you define the source inline, you have to pull it from a package. So you'll have something like foo dot whatever. It'll be like a Terraform template or something like so .tf, and then inside there you'll have your configuration. But unfortunately, what you have to do these days, or prior to this, is you'd have to reference the package and then parse that in there. So what we now do is now support this ability to directly access these resources from Git, which is awesome. So there's two options now. So you can either files that exist in the same Git repository where you store your version control Octopus project, or files that exist in some other external Git repository. So the idea is now is with these external references, you can now just pull them off directly as part of your deployment. So you can actually do this as part of one example is like a YAML manifest. So if you're defining your configs for Kubernetes, you can do that directly and then use that as part of Git. So here's an example here. So inside of the deployment process you're defining inside of this step, if this is run a script step, you can say point directly to script source as a Git repository. And then you further specify, where that's going to be pulled in. You'll see this actually get pulled in during a release. So this is the create release dialog, and this is where we make a snapshot of. So for folks who don't know, we make a snapshot of your deployment process, and then we will pull directly from that. Now, when you create a release, you can specify exactly what versions of the script you want to run. So because we understand Git, you can take a look at the SHA hash and utilize that as part of it. So that's great. Excuse me. There are some limitations. I'm getting all emotional reading about this. Sorry. There are some limitations, as you can see. So we have some work items in our backlog to update this. Excuse me, apologies. apologies for that. And then to resolve a specific commit at release creation time, the repository URL and branch properties only support using unscoped variables. So that is something to consider when looking at this. But the good news is that you can now do this directly. So here's an example of utilizing this as config as code. So if you have a project defined as config as code, this is an example of utilizing the Terraform step. So you have a template here with a Git repository. The repository source can be also a project. So you can specify here the Git repository is configured by the project or an external source. So that's really nice. You can specify that if you already have it configured. So it can sit side by side as part of that. So all in all, really good stuff, and something that I think a lot of folks are looking forward to using.
Yeah, it's great. Git eats the world again.
Yes.
I thought it had already consumed the whole world, but it's just taking more and more, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, so this is obviously continuance of everything that we're doing around our roadmap. So you can check this out at roadmap.octopus.com. We have our items under consideration. We have our planned items. And we have our released items. So if you haven't been to this, make it a bookmark, if not your homepage. Some of the ones that I know that Jim, you and I are keeping a close eye on, things like our Octopus agent and our GitHub app, these are coming along really nicely. I've been seeing some demos. We can't reveal everything yet, but it's like peering into the oven, watching it bake. It's looking really, really delicious. So these two I'm incredibly excited about.
Yep.
And speaking of which, we are also planning to do some webinars coming up. And the reason why I mention this is because the webinars that we'll be highlighting may or may not include the items that are listed on this roadmap. So we may or may not do some webinars for, in particular, the GitHub app and the Kubernetes agent. And it's more than likely we're going to do them. So those will likely occur very soon in the next sort of weeks, if not month, I guess. And so we'll talk about those. If in the meantime you're all interested, we have a few webinars coming up. We have one with our partner Cruise. These are a partner that I believe is in Poland. And then we have our Octopus 101, which I'll be hosting. And then Bob will be hosting another one on, this time, Kubernetes, common problems. We're going to also introduce a huge number of Kubernetes deployment webinars as well. So stay tuned for that. We got a whole page that we're building out for this. So just stay tuned for that. We'll have lots to share very, very soon. But getting back to our roadmap, we got lots of features, and make sure you keep on top of this. You'll see them as they're getting released. So these things always kind of are fast and furious in terms of releases, especially at this time of year when we're planning to ship these things. So there you go. So get resource directly deployments. We've also got some events that are coming up. So this is something that actively I'm working on a lot. So we'll be at DDD Melbourne. I believe we have a presentation that's going to be there. So for folks in Australia, we'll be there. For folks in the UK, we'll be at DevOps Live in London. That's March 6th and 7th. So we've got a few folks who are going to be there. We'll have a booth set up. We may be giving some swag away. Who knows? So if this is a free event, by the way. So DevOps Live is a great event. It's part of Tech Show London. And there's a lot of folks that attend this show, like about 15,000 people. And so if you're at all interested, it's a free event. You can register and just show up. March 6th and 7th, we'll be there. And then in Paris, France, we will be there March 19th to the 22nd. This is for KubeCon and Cloud Native Con Europe. This is a massive event. We went there last year. This was a huge event for us, which was great. In addition to that, we'll also be sponsoring Platform Engineering Day, which is on March 19th. It's one of those sub-conferences that are being occurred on the first day. So if you're there, if you're at KubeCon in France, let us know. We're at booth G26. I haven't published this yet, but we've got a lot of stuff going on there, and I don't even think they've even published the floor map yet. But we'll be on the stage floor. We'll have a booth just like we do at every conference that we go to, and we'll be handing out various socks and swag and things like that. So that'll be awesome. And then wrapping up the latest news, this is a repository, GitHub Technology Partners repository. These are partner actions. So GitHub actions are basically, for lack of a better term, they're like components for your CD pipelines in GitHub. And we have a number of actions, and some of them have been listed on this new awesome partner actions Git repository. So in particular, if you're at all interested about what we do around deployment, you'll notice that we have now 4 listed. Install the CLI, login, which is obviously for utilizing OIDC. There's create release and deploy release as well. So there you go. These are some of the awesome actions that are now available. And great to see them side by side. The reason why these are awesome actions is because they are built with best practices, etc. They are validated, so good to see that we're there alongside folks like Azure, HashiCorp, Veracode, etc., Shipyard, and other folks, Bloomy. So awesome to see, which is great. And that, as they say, wraps up a very quick week of news.
Nice.
I got home on Monday. We haven't had a
Yeah.
lot of news to report, so apologies for the shortness of the video, but it was great to see y'all. And Jim, any final thoughts before we wrap it up for this week?
No, it's all exciting stuff coming down the pipe, though. Really interested to see more.
You can't promise them too much. You just want to tease
Yeah.
them, then you can
Yeah.
So I'm assuming a lot of reliable deployment stuff that you're working on.
Yeah, a lot of reliable deployment stuff where
Yeah, not a big
put some-
deal.
some meat on the bones.
Nice.
Hopefully, we might have something to
Awesome.
show a bit later in the year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll just leave them there. So if you happen to see something hit your radar, let us know in the comment. Otherwise, feel free to like and subscribe this video. Until next time, we'll see you on Deployment Friday. Take care, everyone.